loading up a fresh memory card in my camera, one of those new cylindrical memory cards. So transitioning from photographing people to photographing non-people almost kind of feels like recovering from an illness. Maybe more specifically, it's like a friend recovering from an illness. Because I got my friend back. 5,000. So I've had some success finding subjects that I enjoy photographing, and of course far more success finding subjects that I don't. But to that end, well, I've been driving around a lot lately. There seems to be this whole infrastructure built up around the idea of keeping me out of places that might potentially be interesting to photograph. And then it occurs to me, why am I wasting my gas? Why am I wasting my time? Vistas, landscapes, that's not for me. Oh, I like it. I like looking at that kind of photography, but I'm terrible at it. And where I've had success is isolating a subject, removing it from its environment. That's what I need to be doing. So I came upon this big old pile of trash. And I started photographing it. I believe the Walt Disney Company follows a similar strategy. This silly little photo of a wrinkled up towel. I don't know, maybe I have exceptionally awful taste, but I really like this shot. I was and continue to be very proud of it. And I swear it's not just in an ironic way or like because I'm trying to be different. I think it's a cool shot. I encountered an inordinate number of tires, which kept catching my eye, but I did restrain myself because it could have easily become a tire session rather than a trash session. But a few tires slip in. And this pile of sticks, I immediately thought there was a shot there, but I couldn't find it until the sun came out for the 5-10 seconds that it came out. Then it was gone. Okay, so these are not all masterpieces, but I do in general really like what I'm getting here. This couch situation illustrates perfectly exactly what I'm trying to accomplish out here. Where my natural inclination would be to show the entire couch and a lot of environment, including the horizon, which is exactly what I don't want to do. I want to zero in, show part of the subject, don't show the horizon, limit the environment, and this is key, and not follow the lines. Somewhere along the way in my photography career, I became a follower of lines, and it can look cool. It often does look cool. That's why I did it. But I'm envious when I see photos that seem oblivious to all the lines going on, and I wonder why I can't do that. Why I can't make my compositions look more effortless. Well, it turns out I can. I just have to go out and fucking do it. I have to sort of overthink it in order to make it look like I didn't overthink it. Hopefully with repetition, it'll just become habit. I would also like to try to apply this technique to other types of subjects. I'm enjoying trash photography. I'm going to do more of it. In this very video, in fact. But to break things up a little, I'm also going to head downtown. Speaking of lines and following them, I'm going to an environment positively packed with lines. So I find myself immediately more drawn to alleys than the wide open streets. I'm just lamenting the fact that there's a lack of light. Everything just has a flat appearance. And I begin shooting things in a very flat kind of way. But at this point, I'm not particularly thrilled about what I'm shooting or what I'm seeing. I need to try a little harder to see past the obvious. Ah, yes, the shooting the reflection and the puddle in the city cliche. Well, it's my first time, so I figured I was entitled. Nah, it's a cool shot, no problem. It's a cliche for a reason. That reason being because it produces cool results, but it did lead to kind of using the reflections in more interesting, less cliched ways, like shooting straight up. But then, of course, I realized I don't need a puddle to shoot straight up. I can just, shoot straight up. And indeed, that ended up being one of my favorite shots I got downtown. This sticker wall's cool. I'm sure it's been photographed a lot. So I just kind of walked up and figured I'm not even going to bother with the obvious shot. But then I ended up backing up and just taking the obvious shot. Though in my defense, I considered this shot more about the pipes and the gas meter. I think that's a gas meter, down at the bottom right. Avert your eyes. I definitely wouldn't repeat this cliche for a second time, knowing better as I do. This shot was at least some kind of honest attempt to break all the line following I had been doing, but it really kind of didn't turn out that great. But I tried. I'm not really even sure why, but this shot makes me sad. Don't leave, Mommy, don't leave. Is it possible to be emotionally affected by a shot you don't even like that much? Didn't plan on shooting any wide cityscape type shots, but I guess the roofs here caught my attention. Roofs or roofs? Roofs? No, it's roofs. I call this shot Roofs of Albuquerque. Roofs. What kind of a dumb shit fuck word is that? And the subject of this shot is birds. I just, there was no shot here. I just framed it up with a fence and, well, here's a shot of some cartoon birds. Cartoon birds plus a city. And hey, had I been a little quicker, I may have got a cooler shot, because here comes some real birds, which I failed to notice or photograph staring at my tiny screen, not taking in what was actually happening around me. So the shot was lame. These light patterns that look like bats with extra long wings, those are awesome, and I like this shot a lot, although I wish I'd framed it up a little differently, but I didn't, which is one of those obvious statements that need not be said, but I like the shot anyway. And I don't know, I'm up here and this building looked cool, so I shot it. It came out cool. I overexposed it a little. The look of it kind of reminds me of a film stock I like. I felt really good about my trash photos. That I like them because they were shot on film. Film does have a look, does have a vibe. Can I get some kind of a vibe with digital? I haven't mentioned it, but all the digital stuff I've been shooting in this video, I've had a soft focus filter screwed into the end of my lens. It doesn't make it look like film, but it does kind of make it look less like digital, I suppose. It's been cool to sort of throw away the notions of what I can and can't do that date back to photographing people and the expectations they might have, or the expectations I have just developed on my own regarding my own performance. But I never would use a soft focus filter shooting people, which sort of makes me wonder why I have one in the first place, but I have one, and here I'm finally using it. This fabric flapping in the wind, boy, I tried to frame it up like 10 different ways and ultimately couldn't figure it out, so I just shot something, and it's kind of interesting but also kind of misses the mark. But I don't know what I would have done differently. Trash photography ended up working out great, I think. I got to work out a lot of composition ideas. I genuinely like a lot of my shots. It was fun. I didn't even have to drive that far. It's not that far from where I live. Which that's kind of sad. I wish there weren't giant piles of trash that close to my house. I would actually do a lot more of this. It's something I'll keep an eye out for. It's like rotting, discarded human waste. Not human waste in the sense of like poop, but, well, I mean, who knows? I might be desperate for subject matter in the future. Might revisit that idea. I picked my favorite 20 or so shots, threw them up on the website, and I suppose you're looking at them now, although I haven't actually recorded that part yet, but that would just sort of make sense. Add them to an ever-growing pile of my favorite photos from each video. Glad I could over-explain that.